Hi, I'm Phil Rood, and I'm an independent comic book artist and writer, and I also enjoy naps. Today, I am inking this Roadrunners page from the upcoming Chapter 5, and I'll be focusing in the top panel. This top panel I'm doing right now as you're watching. This page is on Strathmore Smooth Bristol, and I'm inking this panel primarily with a crow quill nib, but I'm also using a couple of Kuretake brush pens, all loaded up. I believe these are all loaded up with Dr. P.H. Martin's Black Star ink. It's my favorite ink. Today I'm going to talk about shitty tech. Phil Rood, that illustrator guy, brought to you by Absolute Tech Bro Nonsense. Don't be scammed by crypto bullshit, AI slop, or promises that you'll enjoy paying to own nothing. Absolute Tech Bro Nonsense is just that, and I suggest you don't fall for it. I'm going to tell you a story about a few years ago when I spontaneously quit my job. I was a beer delivery driver, and I'd been doing that job for about 18 and a half years, and that was just about enough for me. So I quit my job very suddenly in a way unbefitting of a man with responsibilities. We did have a loose plan brought together. I was able to pay off a lot of my debts. And I took a lot of my savings and invested in myself, as they say, as I tried to make a go of it after leaving that job. I tried to make a go of it as a freelance illustrator. That adventure in and of itself is a discussion for another day. I'm sure I've mentioned it. I've probably talked about it at length in several places. But the point I want to make here is that although I had been doing art as a side hustle for all that time, that I'd also been delivering beer. This was the first time I had had to dive full on into the freelance marketplace sites of the internet. Keep in mind that for 18 years of the same day job meant the entire job hunting and application market as a whole had changed dramatically since the last time I had had to hunt for work. So the entire thing was quite daunting. And I'll add that the 18 years was from 2003 to 2021. Those are critical years where everything, the internet sort of exploded and then everything became online. The way you apply for jobs, the way you look for jobs, both standard like corporate jobs and self-employment. So this was a big learning curve for me on all fronts. As I became familiar with the hellscape that is the online gig economy, I did start to figure out that there were a few sites that had a lot of options, actually had good infrastructure for like getting paid and tracking hours and things like that, where that applied. And I actually sporadically got results from them. I used a big one for me was a site called Upwork. Upwork still exists. And I landed a few gigs there, were pretty good. I actually got my first paid for hire comics work there, doing drawing a comic strip. But one thing that really stood out to me while I was hunting for jobs there was the number of NFT related jobs that were listed. It actually took me a minute to figure out that that's what they were. But they were all listed like, we need a batch of 1,000 illustrations to sell on our website. And at first I'd think, oh, cool, 1,000 illustrations. That's a long-term gig, steady work, nice. And then I noticed a pay that wasn't horrible, typically, but also seemed to leave a lot of money to be desired for a batch of like 1,000 illustrations. But it was something that, I was like, still, if you could do that and supplement it with other small freelance gigs, you could kind of, keep the train rolling, as they say. But after seeing a bunch of them, and some with more description than others, I figured out what they were. I figured out these were jobs where you draw an image of, let's say, a cowboy. And that's one illustration. And then you make 999 copies of that drawing, where in each one the cowboy's hat or vest are a different color. And then the website sells 1,000 unique, air quotes, unique NFTs to gullible digital art collectors who don't know how to right click and save. I'm not going to say this is a majority of the listings for freelance illustration gigs that were on Upwork, but it was not an insignificant percentage of them at the time. And I won't lie, my experiment in freelancing was not going great, and the thought did cross my mind a time or two that if I did a job like that, it was not going to be horribly challenging past the initial illustration, a little monotonous maybe, but that it would make me a little bit of money that would allow me to keep going for, another 3-4 weeks, a month. Where maybe I could land some legit gigs. That was the whole thing of me trying to get going, was just stay alive today and figure it out tomorrow. Not great, I know. But I never applied for those jobs. I hated, and still hate, NFTs as a concept. They are scammy, predatory image files that fly in the face of the very concept of scarcity, while also selling the concept of scarcity. It's insane. They're meant to prey on gullible speculators in the same way cryptocurrency does, by pretending to be real money. But that fake real money can only be purchased with actual real money. It's all a big scam, and I was not interested in being a part of it. Fast forward a couple years, and I'm talking to my friend, Corey Scott. And if you don't know Corey, you should, because he's a very talented writer, and more importantly, he's a great dude. Great guy. I was lucky enough to illustrate a story of his called Nictitate that you should check out. I have it as a book. It's in my store. It's on Amazon. I believe it's still on Amazon. I sell it on my shows. It's a cool book. I'm very proud of my work for Corey on that. Anyway, I was talking to Corey about this. And he said something to the effect of, you didn't take those jobs because those are aimed at people who are young and desperate for work, and there are better opportunities than that, and that having a day job is not the worst thing in the world. This is a paraphrase. I'm not a direct quote, just for the record, but this is a paraphrase of what he said. And because I don't have a good memory, I have to stick with the paraphrasing sticks with me because I cannot remember direct quotes. Anyway, he was right. I had come off of a very difficult day job that took 50 to 60 hours from me weekly. It was physically very demanding, and I was often exhausted. And I still made time to draw. I still made time to write when I needed to. I needed to get work done, and I got it done. I did what I had to do, and I know that that I could do that again. So I did. I limped along as a freelancer for about 6 months before I had to go find another day job. And 3.5 years later, I'm still at that day job. I have a great day job now. I have great hours. I have a great work-life balance. It provides me steady money. It provides me health insurance. And it provides these things so that I am not dependent on freelance work that I don't want to do, or that I don't have time to do, or that I just am ethically opposed to, like NFT bullshit. I don't have to do that kind of stuff, and I can work on the freelance gigs that I do want to do, and my own projects like Roadrunners. I bring this all up largely because, out of curiosity, I went on Upwork today to see how it is. NFTs were largely realized to be a scam within a couple of years, even though most of us saw that immediately. So I really didn't see any of those job listings today. But it's been replaced by the newest disgusting tech development. Say it with me. We all know what it is. These are job postings looking for AI slop, which is even grosser. Listings were saying, I want someone to make AI images for me, which were somehow even more pathetic than someone making AI images themselves. I bring this up not just to dunk on the masters of slop that AI users are, but to tell the young artists out there who may see this and think, well, if I do this, it's at least keeping me from a day job. I'm just asking you, please don't. Day jobs are not the end of the world. They're not the end of your career. Opportunities are plentiful, and they will come at you at different times over your career. Pass up the bullshit jobs, and the bullshit jobs will leave the industry if we all pass on them. Keep your eyes on making legitimate art, or art that you're proud of. If you have to take a day job to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of gig economy jobs you can do that will allow you to make money while you're pursuing your art until you get the break doing the work you want to do. Keep your eyes on the prize and don't bend your morals, your ethics, your beliefs, or lean into some online scam that is just all kinds of... I'm not going to get into a whole AI thing here. My point is, if you have a problem with AI art, don't take jobs doing AI art. I had a problem with NFTs. I didn't take jobs doing NFTs. It's not a superiority thing. It's a sticking to your guns thing. There's other ways to see your career through. And the absolute tech bro nonsense isn't it. That's it. I'm going to get off my soapbox about this now. That's just my advice to the younger class of artists, because these are posts and jobs that are designed to take advantage of how hungry you are for work. No one wins. But that's going to do it for me this time. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so you don't miss a video, and go to philroodart.com where you can check out my blog, my shop, find out where to find me on social media, and you can even read my comic Roadrunners for free. You can also read it on the Webtoon app if that's more convenient for you. Until we meet again, I will remind you to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and your communities, especially the most vulnerable people within them. Thank you for watching.